Sport utility makers all think their trucks are heavyweights. But when Daihatsu decided to enter the market last year with a Mini named Rocky, believe it or not, they had to actually get permission from Sylvester Stallone.
Well, the Rocky may not be world champ, Don, but it is a contender.
I don't think the Daihatsu people really named their compact off-roader Rocky after Sylvester Stallone's epic fighter, but it's not a bad idea. After all, the sport utility market is one competitive fight these days, and it doesn't hurt to sound like a contender, especially when your parent company, Daihatsu, isn't exactly a household word. But fact is, this Japanese manufacturer has been building cars since 1907. Rocky just happens to be one of their first consumer on-road offerings in America, and it comes in at a time when sport utility suits a lot of people's driving needs. Of course, those needs don't always include off-roading, and that's just fine with Rocky. Because the best part of this four-wheeler is its urban maneuvers. Its on-road ride outsmooths others in its class, and the Rocky is as quiet and gentle on the highway as many a sedan. It's EPA rated at 23 miles per gallon both city and highway, which should make the commuters happy. Another thing that impressed me about the Rocky city manners is its interior. I found the herringbone upholstery and overall interior feeling to be much more plush than your average inexpensive compact, especially a sport one.
The other is that the back door swings out rather than coming down. But once you get inside, you don't have a whole lot of cargo room. Unless, of course, you fold up the back seat, which provides ample room for a vehicle this size.
As for Rocky's sporting dress, well, I can't say much for the flip-up feature on this sunroof, which does lift off, by the way. The flip-up only raises about an inch, which hardly provides ventilation, much less sun. But there is an interchangeable soft-top conversion kit for those who really want the open air. Rocky's personality may be somewhat split when it comes to the sport trail, but its confidence isn't. For starters, it attacks uncharted territory with the widest wheel track in its class at 57.9 inches. Not only does that provide extra stability, it also gives the Rocky a more balanced appearance than the other high riders. What's more, the Rocky gets two major improvements for 91 in regards to its off-road or foul weather capabilities. One is the availability of a full-time four-wheel drive model, and the other is automatic locking hubs as an option for the first time. These give it a big edge towards easing on to rougher terrain. Speaking of that, its smooth city ride translates very well to off-road, keeping the rock and roll ride to a minimum without sacrificing aggressiveness. The power steering that makes this four-wheeler handle like a compact car around town also responds amazingly well off-road, with more positive control than you might expect. It's extremely maneuverable and feels very stable, just what you want in uneven footing. But when we start talking about power, well, Rocky runs downhill, no pun intended. The Rocky has a four-cylinder, 16-valve, single overhead cam, 1.6-liter engine. Power has been boosted for 91, but not nearly enough. You still get only 94 foot-pounds of torque at 3,200 RPM. The problem I had, especially in around-town driving, was its reluctance to push into higher RPM. Run it up to 4,000 RPM, and Rocky's engine really begs for mercy. Fourth gear feels like second, and even fifth gear makes the engine sound as if it's working overtime. Considering that Rocky's peak horsepower is 94 at 5,700 RPM, that 0 to 60 takes 17.59 seconds, and it hits 64.1 miles per hour in a 21.53 second quarter mile. Well, those statistics speak for themselves. Even by sport utility standards, Rocky is truly lackluster on acceleration and speed. It does fare a little better on braking, however, from 60 to 0 in 175 feet with front disc, rear drum brakes. As for its warranty, it comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile powertrain coverage, and that's adequate. The manufacturer's base price on the Rocky is about $12,500, but that buys you little in the way of options. The test model was almost $3,000 more thanks to things like air conditioning, power steering, and a decent radio. If you want equipment, expect to pay extra for it in a Rocky, more than other sport compacts. But overall, I like this tough little Rocky, even if it is entering the ring with no punch. I give it a thumbs up for its no-nonsense looks, its smooth ride, and its easy maneuverability. But thumbs down go to acceleration, gearing, and that silly flip-top sunroof. Although I enjoy taking it across more adventuresome trails and wouldn't hesitate to do so, I still think Rocky better prowls the asphalt jungle. even if it does like a few street smarts in the hustle department. For Road Test Magazine, I'm Beth Stein.
The base price on the Rocky SX hardtop is $12,497. Now, ours had a host of options, totaling $2,114, giving us a total price, as tested, of $14,611.
Although the Daihatsu is a rare sight on American highways, the same can be said of our next test